So is Turkey the most useless CBI passport? Now let's just break the CBI options right now. People still need a passport. People need a quick passport. There's certain situations where you are desperate. You have no choice. You need a citizenship. You want it now. And there are very few options. Is Turkey the worst option? Should you even bother getting the Turkish passport, especially now with the situation with Mexico? I'm going to discuss that situation during the course of this video. But before that, let's just discuss, what does it get you? Does it get you EU? Nope. Does it get you US? Absolutely not. Canada? Absolutely not. Australia? New Zealand? Absolutely not. So no EU, no UK, no Ireland, none of the Western countries. And it had excellent Latin coverage, so that's one reason why I could see why one would think about a Turkish passport. But with Mexico, they have tightened the screws, and now even to go to Mexico, there's a requirement for ETA, and even for that, there are certain requirements, sub-requirements, and most people would have to still go to the embassy, and they're going to request you for some sort of residency outside or some sort of other visas. So it is a lot more complicated than it looks like. So if there's a weakness in the Latin coverage, and mostly in Latin America, at least a person would want to use it for the Mexican travel. That's very, very important. You don't have any other meaningful access. Then what is the point? Why would you get this? There are certain scenarios where if it's an Afghan passport or really a rare passport where you are left with no other choice, you just can't get any other citizenship, at least to have some sort of a nationality which lets you travel outside. Okay, maybe Turkey could make some sense. But if you're anyone from the Western world, I don't see any value add. And this is not immigration advice. This is just my personal analysis and opinion. So for any kind of a Westerner who has a slightly okay-ish passport, I don't see much reason why one would. Or let me rephrase that or restate that. If you are on a Pakistan passport in an outside country, right? Let's say you're in the Gulf, you're in Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, any of those countries, right? Then it does not make sense to get a Turkish passport, because what is the use case? You're either trying to get to a better country. You're already in the Gulf. It has a certain level of lifestyle. You're okay with it. You're used to it. It's far better than back home in your home country. So getting a Turkish passport isn't really helping you, except it might create some trouble for your children. If you have male children, then you're looking at the military and the service that they would need to look at. Now, some people make an argument saying that, hey, it's, you can pay for it, you can go online, do a bunch of courses, pay for it, and don't actually have to serve in the military. But the point here is not serving in the military. The point over here is, even if you pay it or your children paid, it still counts as service by payment. And this particularly matters when they're, let's say, trying to get another nationality. A lot of countries don't prefer someone who has served in a foreign military, be it by payment, to naturalize. So you're putting your children through something that they might not ideally want to be in that situation. So for those reasons, a lot of people might want to avoid getting the Turkish citizenship. From an access perspective, yes, it might have some other countries, but are you going to really travel to those countries, right? Ask yourself this question. Are you really traveling frequently to Panama, Costa Rica, Argentina? It's a damn difficult flight connection. Yes, on paper, an Uruguay or a Paraguay might sound good, but are you really traveling to those countries? You're not traveling to those countries. If you're ever going to travel, you're going to travel to the UK, to the US, or to Canada, or to any Western country. So if the Turkish passport is not improving your situation at all, and now with this Mexican angle, any kind of use case is pretty slim and trim. So in that sense, I would say a Turkish passport is pretty useless for travel to the Western world. So if that's the reason, absolutely a total waste of money, in my opinion. Now let's look at the other options, right? You have the 5 Caribbean, completely busted. They have the spotlight. That is the biggest issue. Forget the access for a second. Just the spotlight is the biggest issue. I don't like countries that keep revoking citizenship. So either you don't give the citizenship. If you give it, then do your stuff properly and then give it. But just saying the agent messed up and he messed up and she messed up and whoever messed up or the investor messed up, You are terminating a large volume of citizenships. I recently had a video where I talked about how 60 plus citizenships were revoked by Dominica. So why were they given? Like, was there no due diligence? Was there insufficient due diligence that you gave it and then you canceled it? Whatever the reason might be, I'm not blaming Dominica. Maybe they did the right thing. But I don't like countries that issue passports and then terminate it so quickly. That kind of citizenship doesn't sound to me, and this is my opinion, right? As a solid citizenship. Plus, the other big problem is now the pricing is doubled. Is it a solid citizenship? Maybe not, in my opinion. Pricing getting doubled, so doesn't make any sense. Plus the time frames are, it's taking like almost a year to get the citizenship, and a lot of hassle, right? A lot of documentation, that supreme due diligence that they make you go through. So all of that takes time. So in that sense, the 5 Caribbean don't make sense to a lot of people. Non options for now. What is left? You have Egypt. I think Egypt would be the same situation as Turkey, equally useless. So from a Western access perspective, now if you had to get an alternative nationality, I think in Egypt would make more sense, because you're investing 300k versus a 400k in the Turkish property market. Any investment in the Turkish property market was good at the 250 mark in that time, right? If you do that same investment today, I think there's a lot of markup. So you got to be very careful and smart. Versus on the other hand, in Egypt, because the demand is so low, you actually could find good deals. So in that sense, I would say Egypt could be better if you're just looking for some dummy nationality, right? You just need an alternative nationality. From a uselessness perspective, I see both passports as equally useless or useful, the way you look at it. I personally look at it as a useless passport. What else is left? You have Cambodia, Vanuatu, Jordan, and El Salvador. El Salvador and Jordan are costing $1 million. Absolutely out, right? So not a lot of people are going to be interested. And now we are left with Cambodia and Vanuatu. Now, Cambodia, the kind of access it provides, plus the kind of opaque mechanism that they have to citizenship, a lot of people would not really be interested in that. Vanuatu is a completely tainted option. So the reputation that you would carry along with you would be a Vanuatu citizen reputation. And the people watching my video exactly know what I'm talking about. I don't need to elaborate on this. What kind of respect? It's pretty self-explanatory. And believe me, a lot of people know about this, right? You're not the only person who knows about a Vanuatu passport and what they do. A lot of people around the globe are aware of what is going on, especially in today's heated environment. So long story short, are any of the CBIs worth it? Absolutely not. I would not recommend this unless you're in dire state emergency, right? The better options is either the Portugal citizenship through the Golden Visa. I think the current Golden Visa options that we have with certain developers are pretty interesting. I'm not talking about the 250k in donation to the cultural activities. I'm talking about the hoteling, hospitality funds option. So that's pretty interesting. So you have opportunity there with literally next to no residency, just 7 days a year. You can fly through and you can then obtain a very solid, strong EU nationality still in today's day and age. The other no-brainer option is the Mexican citizenship, right? Same time, 5 years, same kind of flexibility. Obviously, Mexico has slightly more residency towards the end to grab that citizenship, but you're getting a passport which is stronger than any other passport. So Mexico, that makes a lot of sense. And then if you want to add something else to that Mexico, then there are so many the options in Latin Americas that have variable time frames. Obviously, the best one is Mexico, but you want to have more options. So you strike 1 or 2 or 3, and then a time strikes, you at least get one. And then if you look at the Africas, there are only 2 options that permit dual citizenship. I mean, there are others that there might be one other country that might give you dual citizenship, but these ones have flexible programs, right? So Mauritius has a flexible program, a permanent residency, direct permanent residency. South Africa has a direct permanent residency by a very low donation. The South African one can lead to citizenship, right? A lot of my clients are very excited about South Africa because it's an African passport. It's a green passport. So Mexico and South Africa make a lot of sense, right? When you combine those two in different geographical regions. And then if you're looking for an Asian residency, you can tag this Asian residency with one of these options, right? You can pair them the way you need them. And this is the kind of discussion that we have as to what suits and fits best. How many options? Is it 1, 2, 3? Do you feel secure with 4? The decision, the count is yours. So you decide how many options you're looking for. We have the discussion, we discuss the qualifying criteria, and then get you started with the options of your choice. At any point in time you want to get started with your residency, click the link, book a call, we can discuss, get you started. We have attorneys in all the programs that we advertise. All right, so you're in good hands. Plus, I personally put a lot of effort in not only talking to the people myself, right? Some people have their secretaries or assistants talk. It doesn't work like that in this field, right? The person who you're listening talk to should be the one talking with you, and that's what my objective is. I know it's hard work, but that is how this thing works. The other thing is I put extreme emphasis on hiring the best of the best attorney, and I don't settle with the best. I try to keep finding multiple people like that, so at least I have 2 or 3 more options. And I like to split workloads. I like to split cases between different attorneys, try to compare, contrast. That way I have a good grip of what the strengths and weaknesses are, and I do this for every single program. All right, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below if you also feel that the Turkish passport is useless, if you see some value, and there's a reason why you see some value with the Turkish citizenship, then let us know in the comments down below. I'd like to read what your reasoning is behind that determination, and catch you in the next one.